Hey, you guys, welcome to day 2 of the Six Figure Photography Business Series that I'm doing all week long here in the group. I'm Sandra Cohn. I'm a newborn and family photographer based in Seattle, Washington. I'm also an industry educator and, as of this year, a best-selling author. I teach photographers how to build solid brands by taking control and learning how to create natural-looking light with strobes and flash. But you guys, I am also on a mission right now to help photographers not only hold on to their businesses through this global crisis, but also position themselves so that they can actually grow their businesses right now, so that when all of this is over, they are stronger than they were before it got started. So if that sounds like you and that's something you're interested in, keep listening. I also want you to know I'm not horribly sunburned. For some reason, my light today is making me look extra pinkish, so don't be concerned. If you're concerned, I'm wearing the sunscreen when I go out. Okay, so yesterday I came on and I shared that, when things get hard, and things feel uncertain, there's a natural tendency to freeze, right, and just quietly wait for it all to pass. And what I know after, 21 years or so in this industry is that oftentimes that strategy is actually the worst thing you can do for your business. So even though it can feel counterintuitive, it's really during the hard times that your business needs your attention more than ever. And honestly, now, while you're not taking clients, and while most of us aren't in a position when we can even see clients legally, it is the perfect time to get in and do the work on your business that has maybe been pushed to the back burner for a while. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing these lessons all week, so I can help you move forward and avoid some of the common mistakes that photographers make in their businesses that really hold them back and keep them from scaling to what they could be, six figures or even beyond that. And one of the biggest problems I see photographers have in their business, whenever I have this conversation with people and I want to know, like, okay, what are you really struggling with? It always has to do with clients, right? Like not getting clients, not finding the clients, or not finding the right kind of clients. And this is just so frustrating, right? Like you have the business, you have the website, you're on social media, you're posting about what you do and you're telling the world, and it feels like nobody is listening, right? Like nobody hears your message. It just goes out into the void. And you sit down to the computer every morning and you open your email and it's just like virtual tumbleweeds, right? It's awful and it totally sucks. Or what sometimes can happen and can be honestly equally as bad is that you are booking clients, but you find that they're not the right ones and they're not people that you actually like working with. So sometimes, you attract people who end up just being price shoppers or who question everything you do, or want to show up with a big giant printout of Pinterest pictures that don't look anything like your work or whatever, right? Like so either one of those situations or a combination of those situations is something that a lot of people struggle with. And honestly, they can both be really, really frustrating, and it sometimes can even feel hopeless. And it feels like that you get to this point where it feels hopeless and frustrating because you're a good photographer, right? But for some reason you just can't find the right kind of clients, or the right kind of clients aren't finding you. And being in that situation leads to what I call the number one mistake. And this is the number one mistake that I see photographers make over and over and over again, that really keeps them from having the kind of impact that they could have, and of course making the kind of money that they want to make and they need to make in their businesses. And that mistake is what we're going to talk about today. And what it is falling into the trap of doing what you think you should do instead of doing what it is you do. So, okay, let me explain. Now, listen, okay, we all have unique points of view, right? Like certain ways that we see things, or ways that we view the world, and especially when we pick up our camera and we're looking through our camera. And that's why, for example, you can go to a conference or a workshop or just be in a room with like 20 other photographers and have everybody photographing the same thing, and yet no two of those photos are going to look the same. And that's because there are not two people in the entire world or on the entire planet who can see things the exact same way, right? Like, we're all unique. We all bring that unique point of view to our work. And honestly, the unique way, that special way that you see things is probably what made you pick up your camera in the first place, right? That's where inspiration comes from. Now, for some reason though, as soon as we start charging people for our work, we stop trusting in that whatever that unique point of view is. And sadly, that's often the first thing to go. And as soon as we hit a little bump in our business, we start looking around, right, and seeing what other people are doing, or seeing what's on trend, or what the seeming popular photographers are doing in our in our industry, in our neighborhood, or in our cities, or whatever. And we think to ourselves, well, gosh, maybe if I did that, or maybe if I did, maybe I should shoot, that way, or should shoot what they're doing, or focus on what they're doing, and maybe that's a way for me to be more successful and make more money, when in fact the opposite is true. And listen, we've all made those mistakes. I mean, this is a huge mistake that I made when I first started my business that almost actually ended up costing me my business. So, little backstory. I started my photography career back in 1999, really just as a side hustle. I was teaching kindergarten at the time, and my goal was just to supplement my teaching income with photography. And but as my business started to grow, and I decided that I actually liked it better than teaching, I decided that I wanted to quit. And so in 2003, I quit my teaching job and launched myself full-time as a photographer. But this is where the story gets crazy, because even though I had been working for like 3.5 years, 4 years at that point as a maternity and newborn photographer, that's what I started doing. Even though I loved doing that, and I had been growing my portfolio and building my business and building my brand as a maternity and newborn photographer, when I quit my job and launched myself as a full-time photographer, I actually launched myself as a photojournalistic wedding photographer, which, you guys, is crazy, because at that point in my career, the only wedding I had ever even been to was my own. Like, I'd never shot a wedding in my life. So it's a little embarrassing. But the reason I did that is because at that time, every other photographer that I was meeting that seemed successful or seemed like they were making money, they were wedding photographers. And at the time, if you were a wedding photographer, it was really on trend to be a photojournalistic wedding photographer. So I got it in my head that if I was going to be successful and I was going to make money as a photographer, then I really should be a wedding photographer, and I really needed to photograph, weddings in the photojournalistic style. And so that's what I did. And it was actually like such a huge mistake. And it almost ended up costing me my career, because my heart wasn't in it. And I didn't like shooting weddings. And I got to the point where I was so burnt out because I was trying to do something that I thought I should do, but that wasn't really my unique point of view and not what I wanted to do. And I just started kind of hating photography, and I hated picking up my camera. And I almost quit. And that all happened because I just didn't trust what it was that I did, what I was called to shoot, and instead tried to do what I thought I should. And I love sharing this story because I know I'm not alone. I see so many other photographers making this same mistake, where they try to be something that they're not because they believe that that's what they should do to be successful in their business, when in fact the opposite is true. So you guys, listen, the secret to building a 6-figure photography business and a long-term photography career is getting crystal clear on what it is that you do, what your unique point of view is, and then fearlessly doing that. And I say fearlessly because it can feel a little bit scary. When you look around and you realize that what that thing that you do, that you love, your unique point of view, isn't what's on trend and isn't what everybody seems to want, it can feel really scary to lean into this. But this is what happened in my own business when I made that choice. When I quit weddings and I went back to maternity newborn photography, that was around like 2007. And not only did I go back to maternity newborn photography, I went back to shooting those subjects the way that I do it, the way that I want to do it. I love working in studio, but I don't have traditional studio photography. My stuff is unposed. I have this whole way that I like to shoot, and that's what I decided that I was going to do. I was like, I'm going to lean into this. I'm going to be 100% me. I'm going to do what makes me happy, or I'm going to quit. That's where I was at. But what happened was, the more I blocked out the noise and the more I stopped looking at what other people are doing, and I stopped trying to chase all the trends, and I stopped comparing myself to others, I stopped looking at photographers that I thought were more successful than me and trying to do what they did. The more I just stopped that, and the more I focused on my own business like a laser, my business started to grow. And that happened because when you focus on what it is that you do, your own voice, your own point of view, your own unique way of seeing the world, your work begins to take on a style that is truly authentic, that is 100% unique to you. And when your work is unique, it becomes instantly recognizable. And when your work is instantly recognizable, that's how you begin to build a solid brand. And having a solid brand is how you stand out in a saturated market, which is how your work begins to be seen and how you start bringing in the right kind of clients. So it feels counterintuitive, but really building a six-figure business starts with getting crystal clear on what it is that you do and leaning into it, fearlessly doing it, building that solid brand, okay? You can, and you guys, I can't state this enough. You cannot have a solid brand when you're chasing trends and you're just doing things that you think you should. If you want to have a six-figure business, you have to figure out what it is that you do and be willing to do that, okay? Now, I'm going to be back to you tomorrow to talk to you about the second mistake that I see photographers make in their business all the time. But until then, I want you to give this idea some thought. Like, really ask yourself, are you doing what it is that you do? Are you being true to your vision and to your calling and to your voice? Or are you getting distracted by the noise? Are you looking at, chasing the trends or what other people are doing and trying to be more like them? Really be honest with yourself and share those insights in the comments below. Your insights might really help somebody else have like an aha moment, and that's what this is all about, okay? And if you are doing what you do, share a little bit about how you got to that point, because I think it's pretty common as creators to be all up and down for a while. So I am curious to see where y'all are at in the journey. Now, yesterday I shared that I am starting a brand new coaching program that's a really intensive group experience for photographers who are serious about growing their businesses to six figures and beyond. And so I do want to share the link to that if you're interested, if that sounds like something you're interested in. Follow the link in the description of today's post. Read a little bit more about it and get your name on the wait list. This is going to be a 3-month intensive group coaching experience that's going to walk you through everything you need to know to really get clarity around what it is that you do and who you serve, but also get in there and craft and draft and create and schedule a marketing plan that works for you and your business, and then also converts And also I'm going to go in and share how to systemize everything from your client experience to your shoots, to your onboarding, to your back-end systems. So it's kind of an exciting program. It's not a pre-recorded class. This is going to be a personalized group coaching experience, which means that space is extremely limited. So if it sounds like something you might be interested in, follow the link, read a bit about it, be really honest with yourself to make sure it's the right choice for you. And then if you think it might be, get your name on the waitlist. I'll be sharing more information about that with the waitlist group a little later in the week. But for now, share your insights from today's video. Tell us about what it is that you do, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. All right, bye.